All right. You are looking live at the Nasdaq, which was flat today, but it was a very interesting day today, and I think a very constructive day. I like days like today where stocks pull back and to points of like moving averages where you can see where they're being bought, just like the index. It was flat today, 0.0% gain. And the volume was down a little bit, below, I shouldn't say down, but below average daily volume, 4% below average daily volume, and it closed at 14,970. I just wanted to point out, a couple things here. First, we had the correction. I've been saying how the last 2 weeks of December and the first 2 weeks of January are tricky, hard to trade, very difficult to navigate. It had a correction here, and during a correction, you never know how long it's going to last or how low it's going to go. So you have to be defensive. It stopped going down here on this Thursday of last week, and then Friday was up, 13 points or whatever. But then this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday had a nice bounce. And today it opened higher and then pulled back to its 10 EMA. You can see the 10 there is 14,841, and it pulled back to 14,008 and then got bought up and didn't close at a high, but it closed flat on the session. So from being down at 14,8, it rallied 170 points to 14,970. So pretty impressive move. And if you look at some of the stocks, you can see, if you look at your favorite stocks and stocks that you own, you can see where they found support today. Stocks like NVDA and CrowdStrike and ELF. And I'm going to go through a bunch of them here. I'm going to start with the Mag 7 though. Apple has been a little bit of in a downtrend. It's below its 50. It went down to the 200, cannot rally back through its moving averages. And at one point today, I believe Microsoft overtook Apple as the largest market cap stock. And Microsoft had this big cup with a handle. I would still call this a handle, but this is a flat base pattern because it's 6 weeks of going sideways, less than 15% dip in that base. So it's got a new buy point there at 384. And to me, Microsoft looks really good, one of the better of the Mag 7s. Meta looks good as well. It was in the news today. I don't know, not a big deal. These stocks are always going to be in the news. But anyway, just had an inside day today, barely. But a quiet day for Meta on lighter volume. Amazon, strong day today. And I believe it had another upgrade today and hit a high there of 157.17. So new highs are good. We like new highs. Google, I put this on our ready list this morning, had a nice move at the open and then just pulled back with the general market weakness and closed near the lower third of the session. But still one to watch for me. Tesla is the last Mag 7 I'm going to go through. This thing looks sick, below all of its moving averages now, more than 4% below the 50. 1.7% below the 200, just in a downtrend. So that's a total avoid. I'm going to go through some software names here first. No, I'm lying. I'm going to go through some semiconductor names here. And this is AMD. And like I said, it just pulled back to its 10, just like the index, right? Pulled back to its 10 EMA, which is what, 144.20. It traded down to 143. So if you caught that, that was a nice bounce right back up to the 148 area. So that's a nice $4.50, $5 bounce for AMD. AVGO, Broadcom, we know this is just setting up in an ascending base. And looks to me like it's trading above this little, downtrending line here. Not there, Marty, right here. Yeah. So definitely something to watch here with AVGO. The buy point would be 151, 1,151 there. It's only 50 points away, which is less than 5% move for a Broadcom. So those who want to get in early, Broadcom looks pretty good. MRVL, people ask me, why do you include MRVL? And there's so many other good ones. This to me looks pretty good, MRVL. It's one of the fabulous stocks, fabulous, like AMD, but I got to go to the weekly here. Definitely one that I'm considering putting on. It's up 6% this week, though. What am I saying? It's up 10% this week. So nice move for MRVL. Anyway, that's it for the semiconductors. I got to get to the software names. I like the semiconductors and softwares, Giga Cloud Technology. This is what I have a friend that I trade with and converse with throughout the sessions, and she says, "Oh man, I missed out Giga Cloud Technology. I wish I would have got it." And so I pinged her today and said, "You still wish that?" She says, "No, I'm glad I missed it." And this is what happens when you chase performance. Just pull back to its 21 there today and then bounced a little bit. But yeah, you don't want to be chasing performance because you're going to get shaken out on a normal pullback. It was down nearly 6% today and traded down to its $18.02, right down to the 21. How about that? Almost to the penny. So be careful what you wish for. Just don't chase stocks. Let them come to you. And always refer to weekly charts. You can see this base here and just it's getting away from itself. I know it's up 1.5% this week, but it was up near 26.45. Yeah, now at $20. So you don't want to take that haircut. Anyway, just a fair warning. Better save the women and children first. This is Team Atlassian, kind of like the index where it, had this, run up to a high of 248, then pull back below its 21 and now rallied through its moving averages. So I like that. I believe it made a new high today. Yeah. And then pull back, but still, that Atlassian looks good to me. CRM Salesforce, part of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, making new highs. I just wanted to point this out. This really helps the the Dow Jones index when stocks like this. It's a price weighted index, $271 stock, and making new highs. So congrats to the longs at Salesforce and Mark Benioff's team. Dropbox, a software name, made a new high today. I've been contemplating on putting this on the ready list, but it just doesn't move very fast. But we like stocks that make new highs, and it's up 6.5% this week. So congrats to the longs there at Dropbox. ESTC, I had this on my watch list last week, and it pulled back below its 21. Like the index, made this like bull wedge pattern, now really showing strength here, up nearly 4% today and a flat tape. So there's one stock there for you that's showing relative strength. And that's what I look for on days like today. Market pulls back, what stocks are showing strength, what stocks are being supported at certain levels. And so there's a lot of learning that goes on in a day like today. IoT, I did put this one on our ready list because it did the same thing, traded below it's 21, then rallied through and still near a buy point, near that base here. And if you look at the weekly chart, you can see this, double bottom base, and it's kind of a base on base pattern, pull back to a moving average. So it's not going anywhere, but it looks pretty good to me. I don't own it. No, I don't. ServiceNow. Yeah, ServiceNow is another one. Just made a new high today. This is a AI play that's doing really well. Had a great week. What is it up? 7.5% this week. So a good week for those service now longs. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the drug stocks. They had big news early in the week. We saw a lot of mergers and acquisitions and raised guidance. And then the last couple of days, it's just fallen out. But all it really did was pull back to its 10 EMA. So just kind of technical trading, and it closed right there at the 10. The retail names had raised guidance. The drug names had raised guidance, a lot of mergers and acquisitions. So they had a lot of news earlier in the week. And the CES show had news yesterday, but today there was no news except for the inflation data, which I don't think had much to do with anything. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to go through some drug stocks here. Vertex, this is one that, man, they partnered with CRISPR. And you can see since it broke out here, it pulled back to the 10 one time and found support and just is ramping higher. Man, this stock has a lot of strength, and it marches to the beat of its own drum. It really doesn't care what the index is doing. It's going to do what it wants to do, but definitely a strong stock. CYTK, I talked about this one and how the Wall Street Journal rumor, and then the rumor fell through, and today it's down 16%. And this is really a shame that people do stuff like this. And then I saw, there was another, wannabe rumor that Amgen was going to buy it. Earlier in the week, the Wall Street Journal said Novartis, and today, people are trying to say Amgen, but there's no deal going. It's just people trying to pump the stock, and people get hurt, trying to chase this stuff. And so don't be chasing those rumors, or any kind of and don't be chasing the crowd. Cura, this one's doing pretty well here. I like the daily chart. You can see the big base, and it broke out, then pulled back to its 10 and found support. It was up a nice move today. You can see on the weekly there, that's a nice stage one base. So it's emerging out of that stage one. Looks pretty good to me. And at one point not long ago, it was a $40 stock. So Cura, that's an oncology stock, cancer stock. I don't think it's going to be bought out, but you never know. These big companies are in the hunt. Eli Lilly made a new high today. To me, it's just still in this base. For it to make a 10% move, it'd be, $60. And so, I think this thing's going to press 700 before too long, as long as the market cooperates. Lilly looks good there. You could see that like flat base pattern there. 11 weeks flat base pattern. That's a nice consolidation. So maybe on earnings coming up here, it'll move. A couple names. I have to go to the cybersecurity name, Zscaler. I was watching this one today, and it's still pretty far extended from its 10, yeah, 2.9%. Palo Alto Networks, man, wow, ramping, nice move. This has had a heck of a week here. And of course, the SEC got hacked, and cybersecurity is just a way of life now. It's a necessity for businesses. It's a necessity for people. You don't want to get hacked. Nobody wants to get hacked. So these are necessities. Yes, they're expensive and pricey stocks, but man, a 14% move, you could see that pull back to the moving average, and wow, yeah, I could say that's getting support. Another one is Sentinel One. This is I'd call it an IPO. You can see it IPO'd right there and then sold off right before the bear market. But anyway, just trying to move through these moving averages here. And definitely one that I am watching. The retail names, I mentioned that some of the names had raised guidance and looked good. TJX, this one made a new high today. Wingstop, I believe. Wingstop made a new high today as well. Look at this big base. Big base, no cup. I mean, there was a couple with no handle, and it just pulls back to the 10, gets support, pulls back to the 10, gets support. Undercut the 21, just like the index, and now making new highs. That one looks really good. And Chipotle Mexican Grill undercut the 21 and rallied back through it today. So that's definitely one to watch. And you can see that's got a big consolidation too there at 21.75. Okay, I'm going to move on and just go through some stocks here that are showing relative strength today. Stocks that I like, stocks showing relative strength, stocks that, I don't know, I think you should own. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Stocks. Stocks that are showing relative strength that are prospective stocks to own. This is ELF, and I think I talk about this one every day, showing incredible strength here. I believe it's going to make a run to 200. I'm not making a prediction. It's just my expectations. You could see this base here, ran up for a year, makes another base here, pulled back a couple of weeks, 3 weeks tight. Now it's starting to ramp higher. If it does anything like that, yeah, shareholders are going to be happy. Heck, I would be happy with a 10% move, but I think it's going to do a little better than that. ELF made a new high today. It was over 160, I believe. Anyway, very strong stock. CrowdStrike, speaking of cybersecurity, just looks like a one-way stock. This one pulled back, nice bull wedge pattern. I had sold it and bought Celsius. It pulled back, and then I had to buy it again on Monday as it ramped higher. And I'm glad I did. That's why you have to be nimble and flexible here and not close-minded and just, I sold it. I'm not coming back to it. Yeah, I'll buy them back. I'll sell them, I'll buy them back. So I like this stock. I think this could be I wouldn't say a grand slam. I think it could be a home run. Certainly, it was being accumulated here while the Nasdaq was floundering last summer, and now that the Nasdaq's performing better, this thing is near new highs. My goodness, what was the old high? 298 or something? 290, yeah, 298.48. So that is definitely on watch. I think our friend Malibu will get the magnets out for 300 there. NVIDIA, I didn't include this in the Mag 7 because I wanted to talk about it here. Making a new high today. This one broke out on Monday. Once again, at 500, it ran up to 553. It was like I don't know, I want to say a 12% gain this week, something like that. Yeah. So to me, a stock this big, making that big of a move in a short period of time, this takes a lot of demand, a lot of interest, a lot of institutional support. If you're a swing trader and you take 10%, that's a great week, right? I wouldn't blame anybody for moving on, but if you're holding NVIDIA for higher, more gains and for higher prices, I respect that as well. It wasn't long ago where this was considered a really super expensive stock, and now they're saying it's one of the cheaper ones of the Mag 7. So NVIDIA is definitely a boss stock. Now, VRT, this one had its highest close, but it didn't take out the 5023. I put this on our ready list. I like it above 5023. Yeah, it 5017. So I believe, providing the market cooperates, it's going to take out that 5023. So let's see it get above there and start ramping higher. Some people are saying the base isn't big enough. Well, I'm not going to argue with the market. If it wants to make new highs, that base is roughly what, 12. So it's a month old. Okay, 5 weeks. I'm not going to argue. I mean, if it wants to go higher, it wants to go higher. So things don't need to be perfect. You wait for a perfect base, you wait for the perfect setup, you're never going to buy anything. You're going to be left holding the bag. So you got to get in there, take your bat off the shoulders, and take a swing at some of these. This is a SMCI. Boy, there's a lot of different ways you could look at this one. The 317 was definitely an area of interest. It broke above there. Obviously the 357, we want to see it take out the 357 and make new highs, but definitely showing strength. And had a good week this week, up 17.5%. I would say that's a pretty good week for Supermicro. Definitely showing strength. Spot, this is one that I put on our ready list this morning. I really like this base here. Once again, people complain the base isn't big enough. I can't help that. I just like it above 202.88. And I believe it traded right there about that level today, 294. Yeah, so maybe next week it'll take it out, but definitely looks good. Pulls back like a bull wedge pattern to the 21, and now trading higher. So as the index went below the 21, this one kind of found support there. So Spot to me looks good. Netflix had news, something about gaming. I don't know, but definitely looks it went over 500 today, I believe. Yeah, and then pulled back with the general market weakness, but definitely looks strong there. Along the 21, finding support. Netflix looks good, showing strength in a weak tape. Deckers, I missed this. I'm sorry. I should have had this on already. Let's pull back to the 50 for the first time after the breakout as a gift. It pulled back to 651, and now it's up 50 points from there. So anytime you see a stock break out of I wouldn't say a bull market, in an uptrending market, you see a stock breaking out from a base, which it did here, and rips higher, and then pulls back to its 50 and finds support. That's a gift. I mean, I'm sorry I missed that. I'm actually upset with myself. I'll have to do 50 push-ups. Uber is another one that I had on our ready list today. This one's been up like 4 days in a row, showing strength. Once again, like the index, traded below the 21, then rallied back above it. I'm not sure if it took out that high. I believe it did. 63. Yeah, I believe it did. 63, 61. Come on, Marty. 63, 61 is the high today. So yeah, it took out those old highs. Good for Uber. And I like that one, Yeah, I like it. So anyway, showing strength. Just showing his stocks, showing relative strength in a fairly weak tape today. This is Modine, manufacturing, one that I really like. Just trending, trend trader's dream, just finding support at these moving averages, showing relative strength in a weak tape. You gotta love it. And here is Monday. 199.68, did not get above that today. Definitely a stock that, you got to look at the weekly, showing strength in a week tape, up 9% this week. One to keep an eye on as it tries to emerge from this stage one consolidation. This could be, like Datadog and CrowdStrike, a real home run type of stock, I believe. ANET, I'm just showing you this networking stock. Juniper got bought out. It's in the same computer network industry group. And then ANET spiked with that news, but it doesn't need help from Juniper. It's doing pretty well on its own. Definitely showing strength in a week tape. It's had a fantastic week. It's up 9% this week. So good week for a lot of stocks. I just wanted to point out these stocks showing strength. And that's it for me, except for I lied. I have one more thing. I was really, and it grinds my gears when I see people, and this is in the honor of the great Steve Jobs, by the way, when I see, these financial media people trotting out these so-called gurus propping up Bitcoin like it's going to 1 million tomorrow. And, people fall for this stuff. They're like sheep and they buy, like coin, it was up, what was it up? 27 something today. I mean, excuse me. I'm going to start off with Mara because this is the one that really bugged me. Yeah, it was up to 29, right? Closed at 22. I mean, people just got suckered. They just pulled a rug on you. And so when you get Kathy Wood coming out saying it's going to 1 million or 100,000, whatever, it's just don't follow the crowd. I mean, you're really going to get hurt like that. Yeah, I know it just pulled back to its 21 here and it looks fine. I mean, actually, that's a pretty bearish engulfing candle, but if you look at the weekly, Mara's done okay. It just bugs me when people come out and say just random stuff like, I could say NVIDIA is going to 2000. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. And then they trot out all these people, these Bitcoin knuckleheads, and people get hurt. The average retail person and watching at home, they fall for this stuff. And it was just sold into strength today, and it really makes me mad. It grinds my gears. Riot, this one closed below its 50. Thank you very much. A nice 15% haircut. It was worse than that because up to $17 and then close at 13, man. It's just, this is just a scam. I'm sorry. Uh, just really bugs me that they do this to the retail folks and people watching at home want to believe, oh yeah, Bitcoin's going up. All you have to do is buy it and it's going higher. Anything related to Bitcoin? No. This one's down 7%. This is hot. And then MicroStrategy, which had a great year in 2023, software name pulled back to its 50 and actually closed 1.8% below it. But I just had to vent. I'm not against Bitcoin. People are going to make money on it. That's fine. But just don't come on television, say it's going to 1 million and try to sucker people in and just sell off on them. That's just it's wrong. Anyway, that's it for me today. Stay positive. Look for relative strength. Own winners and never give up. Thanks for watching.